Hello, everyone. I'm Geni Whitehouse, presenting to accounting professionals on behalf of Fathom. Today, we'll be discussing dashboarding for growth using Fathom. Afterward, I'll be answering your questions live, so please submit any questions that you have. The point of what I'm talking about today is really to share what I've learned about the power of focus. It's a great ability to be able to refine your field of vision and to refine the things you have to keep up with and to refine the things that you have to learn about all the time. So I'm going to share my own experiences. And unfortunately, I am not responsible for building this niche that we have, or niche, as I say from the South. I had the good fortune of falling into a practice that was already focused on the wine industry in Napa Valley. So I'm going to talk about the ways that we've actually grown our practice in that area based on the tools that we found that really support us in being advisors. And when we talk about growth, so the topic of this session is about dashboarding for growth. And the first thing I want to do is clarify what growth means. You know, most people think growth means selling more, doing more, working harder, expanding our client base. And I'm here to offer you an alternative, which is to grow by doing more for fewer clients, to deepen your connection to those clients, and to really go and become a trusted advisor. The keywords that we like to bandy about in our profession, but I want to bring those words to life. And that's what we're trying to do every day with our clients in Napa Valley. So I'm going to share that with you and give you some of the ways that Fathom, which is for us really a go-to tool. It helps us do all kinds of things as advisors that we weren't able to do before tools like this came to the marketplace. So I just want to give you the context around what we're doing. And so, yes, I live in Napa Valley, California, which you all probably can already tell I'm not from Napa Valley originally. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm from Greenville, South Carolina originally, but I moved here from Atlanta, Georgia. I'd lived there for 15 years. So lots of time spent in the South, arrived in the middle of California in 2004 and started working with wineries in 2007 with no knowledge of wine. I mean, could barely figure out what to order and what paired with my grits and bacon. I showed up in the middle of Napa Valley, a well-known established Cabernet producer, high-end wine, fancy highfalutin wineries, and I was scared to death. And so I had an opportunity to work with a CPA firm that had a practice already going in this valley and was already focused on wineries. But my role has been to expand our awareness, to expand the services that we deliver, and to really get out and work with these wineries. So I'm here to tell you, you don't have to come in with a huge amount of expertise in that particular industry. I had expertise in accounting, and what I had to figure out was how to connect the dots between the expertise that I had and the needs of the clients in the wine industry. And as I started digging into that, I discovered that there are lots of ways where not being an expert when you start can help you become a trusted partner and someone who advises clients in all aspects of their business. So I'm going to share my own journey and talk about how the Fathom toolkit really fits in with what I'm doing and using and providing advisory services, both through the CPA firm as a CPA, but also in a separate business that I founded, which is a bookkeeping business, again, focused on wineries. So I've done it actually in two different kinds of businesses, and the toolkit actually helps in all instances. So the Napa Valley is this really unusual area. There's a 30-mile, 5-mile wide district, 30 miles long, 5 miles wide district that has wineries in it. And if you ever visited Napa Valley, you know that to be true. You can drive along the main two roads and see wineries on both sides of the street there, plus a million other wineries, it seems, all the way around this area. And it's because of the unique geographical aspects of this area that we have so many wineries. So I'm not telling you that you must have the similar advantage in order to build a focused practice. But if you have an interest in building a focus, what you can do today is use the remote focus and still work with clients wherever they happen to be, but focus on a particular area of service that you want to deliver. So again, I have a unique opportunity because I happen to have found myself through some mysterious set of consequences in the middle of the premium wine country, Napa Valley. But you don't have to have that today. You can do the same thing via virtual geography on the cloud. You just have to figure out how to establish your expertise. And again, I'm going to share some of the things that I've learned about doing that. The first thing I want to clarify for you is, why should we do this? And there are benefits of focus both for you as the accountant and for your clients, because a client wants to come to somebody to help them who really understands the context of the industry in which they practice. And I started out I worked in a CPA firm in Atlanta, and that was after I started with Deloitte a long time before that. And then I had done corporate tax and a bunch of different things in the accounting space as a CPA. And then I went to a firm in Atlanta where I eventually became a partner, but I had built a practice around clients in the local area of Atlanta, and they were all on Peachtree at the time. And so I would go out to small businesses and consult on the computer systems. And what I found is it was difficult because each client was different. And so I had to come in and understand the unique aspects of their industry. They had different charts of accounts. They had different focus. Some people had inventory, some people didn't. And so the problems were very diverse. And so I would go in each time and have to basically relearn what I knew about however their systems need to be set up. And sometimes we had construction clients and we had project costing and things like that. And so I did it and I could figure out some of the similarities across systems, but it was much harder for me to think about all of the unique issues that these clients faced, and also to stay on top of all the regulatory changes that impacted them and everything else that was unique to that client based on the kind of business that they had. And so the benefits that I've seen, the huge benefit of focusing on the wine industry is every time a new regulation comes out, I know the impact. I know which areas it's going to impact for those clients, and I can be very proactive about communicating the impact of those changes in a unique and focused way. And so it allows me to sort of streamline where my head needs to be anytime something changes in our world. And as we all know, our world has changed a lot lately. And so being able to focus on what kind of loan advice is going to help, what kind of USDA programs apply to farmers and specifically wine growers and things like that gives us a leg up versus some of our competitors in this space who have maybe a small division focused on a particular industry or no focus at all. And I'm much more able to get to the right messages that really can help my clients. Hopefully that's the goal, right? As advisors, as accountants, we really are in this game because we want to make a difference for our clients. And by focusing your practice, you're able to be much better about getting there with timely information and also providing a lot more value. So, we touch everything. We touch their technology, the regulatory environment. We work with providers who support businesses who are in this industry. And so we've got depth and information that can help these clients. And that's when it starts to be fun, I believe, for us as accountants, when we can really make a difference in their business, when we can really have an impact. That's when we are satisfied, I believe, as accountants and advisors to our clients. So there's benefits for us because it's much more fun. It's much easier for us to go deep. We can really establish a depth of knowledge that we can leverage across multiple clients. And for our clients, it's better too, because they have people who understand them. There's all kinds of unique terminology. And once you understand that language, then you can leverage it and make your clients feel more comfortable with you. It's a huge benefit for marketing because we can say that that's what we do. We focus on wineries. So if the winery comes in, we already get where their issues are going to be. We understand cash flow is going to be a problem. We understand costing our inventory is a pain point. We understand which systems are going to help you and which ones are going to not help you, the ones that need to be improved and connected and changed. And again, we can add services to that practice because of that focus. So when you're developing a niche, as I say from the South, what it means is that you're going to have to go deep. You're not going to just be able to touch the surface. You're going to have to go into maybe deeper waters than what you're used to doing. And again, for me, moving into an industry that I didn't really know, I mean, I knew that there was good wine out there. I couldn't pronounce much of it. And I didn't know all of the ins and outs of the business by any stretch of the imagination. I knew it was a complex space to be in. I didn't even know how complex the inventory costing was. And I didn't know that wine was in the inventory in many cases for up to 5 years or more sometimes. Bulk wine, the unbottled wine, can sit in storage and in cellars being processed for 3 to 5 years in some cases, depending on the type of wine that you're working with. So there are a whole bunch of things like that that I had no idea about, but I had to have faith that my knowledge of accounting could be leveraged in a way that could serve those clients. And of course, the first couple of clients are scary in any industry. The first client every time, if we're doing continual different industries, is going to be scary. The benefit of this focus is the first client's scary, the second client is less scary, and by the time you get to the third client, you've seen the patterns, and then you can get smarter about the kind of service that you provide. And also you get to know the lingo. One of the things that was a real benefit to me is I got an opportunity to teach before I had really gotten deep into the industry. So I had a friend who was building an educational service offering and asked me to create a financial accounting for wineries course. Now, this is before I start working with wineries, before I really know how much about, very much about what's going on in that industry. And so what I did is use that as an opportunity to, first of all, connect my own ignorance of the wine industry with the way people feel about accounting. And so I leveraged my ignorance in teaching the course. And I start off by saying, here are the terms that you guys use that I don't understand. And here are the terms that we use as accountants. And let's see if we can connect the dots for both of us. And so I didn't pretend to be an expert when I started teaching, but I used my expertise in accounting and my ignorance of the wine industry to get smarter and to also make my audience, my trainees, feel more comfortable with the message. So teaching a class, believe it or not, is a great way to get knowledgeable. And again, the first class is scary because you don't have the context and you might say the wrong thing. But by the second class, you've gotten feedback from students, you've had stories come out during the class discussion, and then you can quickly upgrade your own knowledge of that particular industry. So as scary as that sounds, coming up with a course that will help you educate those people about accounting in that context is one way to get yourself more skills in a much quicker way and to overcome your lack of confidence about that industry. Now, I still can't pronounce some of the wine that we drink, but I did get really connected to what these people were suffering with as a result of teaching these classes. And I've been teaching the classes now for 13 years. And it's a really fun way to connect with people, to spread the brand for our firm, and to continually learn about what's evolving and changing in their space. So if you're going to be an advisor, if you're going to build a focused practice and provide advisory services, and that's what I think is required if you're going to go deep in a particular practice area, you've got to make some changes in the way that you approach the work that you do. There are some things that you have to do about yourself, some expectations you have to bring to bear on your own persona. And one of the things that you have to worry about most is having curiosity. Now, notice I don't say you have to have all the answers. We have to be curious enough to ask these people who are in fact experts in their own business what they know. And then we have to have some knowledge about how to get to those answers, how to help them find their own answers by asking different questions. And yes, you need to understand some of the terminology eventually, but you don't have to start as an expert in something in order to establish a niche in a particular industry. Again, the most important thing you can bring to bear is curiosity. And I think it helped that I came into an industry and didn't presume to know anything because I was forced to ask the dumb questions. And that, by the way, is one of my biggest strengths. I'm good at asking all the dumb questions. It's on my resume, y'all. But that is a benefit. And it also puts people at ease. We don't fly in as the expert accountants with our briefcase full of answers, that we instead help guide them to finding their own answers. And so that's one of the critical components of building a niche, is be curious about what they have and then have a way to build your own knowledge. And again, you don't have to come in that way, but you can get there. And if you're curious about what they're doing and you ask questions like, wow, that's really weird. Why do you do that? I've never seen that before. And then listen to their explanations, you can start making sense of what happens in the industry. And then what we have to provide, if we're going to build an industry focus, is education. And that to me is so important because, first of all, the whole accounting thing is a big black mystery to most people. They don't know what we're talking about. They don't understand our terminology. And we have a chance to educate them about how accounting relates to their particular and unique business specialty. And then we have to communicate with them in a different way. We have to, again, show that we understand the context around the work that they do, and then make it easier for them to communicate with us. And then the real ultimate objective, I believe, in both advisory and focusing on a particular industry is to not just show them stuff and tell them how badly their results turned out, but help them come up with ways to improve their outcomes. And that's what, to me, an advisor should be. Somebody who makes an impact on not only the business, but also the people working in that business. And when we're able to do that, we're going to have all the business that we can handle, and we're going to be gratified and feel like we are really serving those clients and helping them stay afloat. So I just want to share that, anything good that I say is not my own. It comes from my association with Edie Osborne at Mentor Plus. And I've worked with Edie since the early 2000s when I was trying to figure out how to move the needle on our profession, how to become better and to add more value to our clients, and how to really make an impact. And so I discovered these tools, and I've been working to combine technology and methodology to change the accounting service delivery model. And so this tool is at the core of everything that I do. It's what we use in our firm. It's how I came to this firm. We connected with each other because I had been doing things with Mentor Plus and teaching accountants how to apply technology and delivering advisory. I became so enthusiastic about it when I left a previous job. The CPA firm reached out and said, "You're in our area, come work with us and apply these tools that you talk about all the time with wineries." And I said, I don't speak winery, but okay, I'm willing to try. And it's been a great ride ever since. So I worked with the CPA firm 2 days a week. I also have a bookkeeping business, as I said, built on QuickBooks Online. That is 100% remote. We have a small team working with wineries and bookkeeping as well. So all of these concepts that I'm sharing with you are things I don't just think about and talk about, I do them myself as well. And this is a basic methodology. It takes you from the skills that we already know we have at the technical level, all the way out to being Kaizen, continuous improvement leaders who help companies really change the way that they operate. And that's what we do with these tools. And you go from level 1, technical foundation, to level 2, where we really start to educate and communicate what's happening with the numbers. And then we take that information at level 2 and leverage it into changing the planning that we do for the future ahead. At level 4, this is where we connect the line workers, the people at the front of the business who are making things happen, to the financial outcomes of the business. This is where activities and financial outcomes become really clearly connected. And this is where you get people to actually change their behaviors in support of whatever objectives you establish. And then level 5 is where we just keep checking in and refining, looking at measures and metrics and helping people update them as needed as the business, and refining, looking at measures and metrics and helping people update them as needed as the business grows and changes. So that's the graphic. That's the level 5 graphic that communicates it. Here's just another way for you to see it. These are the pieces of the work that we can do. Most accounting firms are stuck in level 1. Some get as far as level 2, but go no further. Our goal is to get you to apply these tools or somebody else's tools in delivering advisory services for a particular focused industry area. And when you start to do that, it changes everything for you and for them, as I've already said before. So I'm going to give you some of the tips about how we put this together in a package that establishes us as really an industry leader in our space. And so if you're going to go deep with somebody, you got to go deeper than just the financial statements. And this is where, we've got all the expertise. We spent all this time learning to understand the financial information to make sure that we're complying with yield, GAAP, and all the other regulatory requirements, especially those of us who are in the CPA space. We're bound by a whole bunch of regulatory requirements that we have to follow. In the bookkeeping side, we have a whole bunch of GAAP rules that we want to make sure we're staying on top of. But it's not just a financial problem that we need to address. If we're going to help a client